Welcome back to the Offseason Special Podcast today. We're going to be talking about NFL coaches that are on the hot seat or have been fired already this season. Teams this year that have coaches that may be fired or on the hot seat or need a coach. We got the Chicago Bears, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Jets, New Orleans Saints, and the Dallas Cowboys.
The main coaching candidates for the teams that they've already interviewed or they are going to interview are Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, Robert Saleh, the ex-head coach of the New York Jets, and then Deion Sanders, Colorado head coach currently, and then Mike McCarthy, who just got fired from the Cowboys. And then Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, and Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator for the Lions.
The Cowboys are in the early stages of their search to replace Mike McCarthy as head coach, but one name is already known: former Cowboys legend, current Colorado coach Deion "Primetime" Sanders. A source said Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones and Sanders spoke Monday, and while the interview has not been scheduled, the two are expected to continue their dialogue. Our Adam Schefter.
The Jacksonville Jaguars just added another name to potential head coach candidates. The list has grown to 10 as they have added Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. Spagnuolo has had all kinds of success.
Now we have some questions about these coaches to figure out where we think they're going to go or what the best fit for these coaches might be, because a lot of coaches don't fit good with teams and they may be better somewhere else. First question up, we've got where will Mike McCarthy end up after leaving Dallas? I know he talked to the Chicago Bears this week, but where's a good fit for Mike McCarthy?
I think a really good fit for him would be the New Orleans Saints. They already got a pretty decent roster, and I think they're already interviewing him this week. The Jets are interviewing like 50 people. Actually, it's pretty insane. They're probably not going to get McCarthy.
Yeah.
But the Saints and the Bears are pretty close to getting McCarthy, but I'd say the Bears are looking for someone younger and someone to build Caleb Williams with, like an offensive mind like Ben Johnson.
Yeah. Well, I do know Mike McCarthy was like 49-35 with Dallas. They won one playoff run from 2022 to 2023, which that's not bad. He did win a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. He's not a bad coach. I don't think that's the issue. I just think it's the people that were around him. But yeah, I do agree. I think the New Orleans Saints would be pretty good. I don't think the Bears are honestly a good fit. They might be okay, but I don't necessarily think that that's probably the best place for Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
And then, everyone's talked about Deion Sanders being the head coach of the Cowboys. Do we think that Deion Sanders will end up in Dallas, or is he going to end up somewhere else, or is he going to stay at Colorado? Or what is going to happen for Deion Sanders' future?
I think it all depends on what his son's looking like in the upcoming mock drafts and stuff. If he's like top 2 or top 3.
Yeah.
He'll probably talk with Jerry Jones about something in the contract with him having to play with his son.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I mean,
he might not have to. I don't know.
I like Deion Sanders as a coach. Honestly, do I think he's better than Mike McCarthy? No. My reason for that is because, yes, was he a good football player? Yeah. Deion Sanders was very good. They weren't bad at Colorado. Colorado's been better than they have been. But the NFL is so much different than college football. I don't know if, even Dallas or necessarily the NFL in general will be a good place for Deion. Could it be? Possibly, but I don't think that the NFL is a good place for him. That's just my thought on Deion Sanders. I like him as a coach. I like his coaching style. I like the way his offense and stuff runs because, did he have an offensive coordinator? Yes, but who was in charge of it all? Deion. So, I like the way he, runs everything, but the NFL is just different than college football.
He's a really good players coach, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
Next question is, how much of a role do you think Tom Brady will have in the Las Vegas Raiders' decision for their next head coach?
Mark Davis talking about yesterday's developments. Davante Adams traded to the Jets. Later that day, Tom Brady finally approved after a year and a half actually technically a little more than a year and a half since the deal was done. The deal was a little bit too sweet for Tom Brady because if you give equity to someone at a below market rate, the owners of the other teams are like, let's not start down that path.
Honestly, I would.
He just became a partial owner a few months ago.
I mean,
and they said that he's going to be a pretty big role in it.
Yeah, I mean, part of me thinks that he will, but knowing Tom Brady, this is the problem with Tom Brady. He was a quarterback. It's hard to have a quarterback run an NFL team because he was solely a quarterback. Yes, does he know all the other parts to a football team? Yeah, but I think that overall, I would rather have someone like Tom Brady that's played the game, that knows, coaches and how to be coached and how you want to be coached, rather than an owner that's never played on the football field, doesn't know how, coaching, candidates vary, they vary quite a bit. So I don't think that those people quite understand that. So I think that Tom Brady might play a huge role, honestly, in trying to choose that because I think the Raiders want to win. The Raiders have been pretty decent at times. They always play good. But, I mean, when you're a team that doesn't win but 4 games a season, you hang it out. And you just play whatever you can play. And usually when that happens, you're really good. You win games. You beat Kansas City. You won, things like that. But they don't gather anything from it because they don't have a coach. So I really think Tom Brady will play a huge role in Las Vegas' future.
Steve Spagnuolo leave Kansas City after the season.
That's a tough one. So what? Steve Spagnuolo, he's
the defensive coordinator. He's been
okay.
there for a while. He's pretty good.
He's not bad. Honestly, I think Kansas City's stupid if they don't give him more money. Honestly, he's good. He's one of the better candidates. One of the better coaching members in the National Football League for sure. But honestly, I think he'll stay in Kansas City if they give him more money. If they don't, we will probably see Steve somewhere else.
Yeah.
And because he's good, they're winning games. But if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, that might change. Yeah, that might change everything. He might stay, but he might not because next year Kansas City might not be as good as they are this year. Yeah, they had the draft coming up and stuff like that, but at some point, your Super Bowl run's got to end, and I think Kansas City's time's getting closer and closer. So, honestly, I don't really know if Steve will stay or not. What do you think?
It honestly depends on the playoffs. I think if they win the Super Bowl, he'll have really good coaching stock, which he might be college head coach if.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. But, trying to go to the NFL, I mean, he's a good defensive coordinator. But I don't think he'll go for a head coaching job, honestly. He may go somewhere for, a defensive coordinator. Honestly, I could see that. He would honestly be a good fit. I'm a Cowboys fan, but he would be a good fit in Dallas with whoever else decides to go there because Dallas has got a pretty good defense. Yeah. I honestly think Dallas has better defensive players than Kansas City does. Just Steve knows how to, put the defense together to make them play. But I think Dallas has a really, really good, strong defense. But I think it'd be good somewhere like that. Or, the LA Rams, they've got a good defense. A lot of teams have good defenses. They just don't have a good coach. So, honestly, I think Steve will probably stay. But I don't know if he'll stay in Kansas City. Our next question, Robert Saleh. Or however you pronounce it. How do you pronounce it? Saleh. All right. We'll go Robert Saleh. He was the New York Jets head coach. Is his coaching career over? What do you think?
He's interviewing the Dallas Cowboys this week, and I honestly don't think he's going to get that job. Mm-hmm. But they're probably going to hire someone like some former player like Jason Witten or someone.
Yeah, I can see that.
He could be a really strong candidate for the defensive coordinator job because Mike Zimmer might resign because he is 72 years old. He might stay with the team though and be like assistant defensive coordinator or something. But
Mike Zimmer wasn't bad. He was okay, but I don't think he should have been a defensive coordinator.
Robert Saleh was a very good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think he should have been an offensive coordinator. When was he there at the 49ers?
Whenever they made Super Bowl or NFC Championship and the Super Bowl for like those 4 years.
Yeah. You're right. Because then he went to New York and then okay. Yeah. I honestly I don't know if Robert's career is over. Like I said, he's not a bad defensive coordinator. He's got a good slate for defensive coaching. So, I think honestly you can get a clean slate somewhere and try to rebuild everything that he's got.
Most of these guys would be pretty good college coaches as well. So
that's the thing. I mean, like Bill Belichick, he went to North Carolina. Honestly, will he be better in college football? The only reason I say that is because college football, you have the opportunity to go out and get more players. You can get better players. In the NFL, you're limited to so much money you can spend, and a team may want the guy you want. So there's not as many good players going into the draft. Well, college football, you can go out and recruit these guys. Yeah. You can recruit as many 5-stars as you want, but will they go? I don't know. But you can recruit as many as you possibly want. So I think college football is better. Honestly, I do agree with that statement. I think Bill Belichick will be good there too. Robert, honestly, I'm going to say his coaching career is not over. I think that he's going to find somewhere. Will it be this season? I don't know. Will it be this offseason? I have no idea. But I feel like he'll end up somewhere. It just kind of depends how the NFL plays out. Where will Aaron Glenn end up? The Chicago Bears are interested. Take that for a note.
I know the Jets are. I think yesterday he said that his favorite, the team he is most interested in is the New York Jets, and I think they're interested in him too.
Yeah.
But the Jets have a lot of coaching candidates already interviewing, but Aaron Glenn is probably at the top of them. If he doesn't go there, he'll probably go to Chicago. He'd be a pretty good fit.
Honestly, I don't know much about Aaron Glenn. Where did he coach at?
He's a really solid defensive coordinator at Detroit. Both their coordinators could have been in the coaching cycle last year, but they just wanted to stay.
Well, Detroit's got a pretty good defense too. I feel like, though, defensive coordinators, they always want to be a head coach. Like Dan Quinn. Okay, but Dan Quinn was a head coach, then went to a defensive coordinator, was very good, but then went to, Washington now and is the head coach, and they're really good. But that's the problem with all of that is, it seems more logical for an offensive coordinator to want to be a head coach rather than...
It's an offensive league right now, pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like, an offensive coordinator would rather... Because Washington, okay, they've got a good offense. They have an offensive coordinator, obviously, calling the plays. But their offense isn't that great. Is their defense all right? Take it or leave it. I mean, they really didn't play that good against the Buccaneers. So, I just... Looking at it, it just doesn't seem right for a defensive coordinator to... be a head coach in the league. I don't feel like that's right. If a defensive coordinator is going to be a defensive coordinator, they should stay a defensive coordinator. And then, like Robert, he probably, at one point he was a defensive coordinator. He obviously wasn't fit to, try to run the whole team because people don't understand a head coach does so much. They don't just run the offense and the defense. They run everything. They're the ones that hire the offensive coordinator, go pick their defensive, special teams, you name it, they go pick those guys. That's their coaching staff, and I feel like that kind of defeats the purpose of having a head coach is, you have Dan Quinn that knows how to run a defense, but then he has a defensive coordinator. Well, the defensive coordinator may not do anything. He may do nothing at all. Like the Cowboys, we didn't even have, did we have an offensive coordinator last year? I don't even think we did.
It's McCarthy, pretty much. He was just calling the plays.
Yeah, which, okay,
the coordinator's got the scheme. He just calls all the plays.
Yeah, which seems jacked up because if you're going to have an offensive coordinator, you would think he would call everything. And the defensive coordinator would call everything. And I feel like they should stay to their sanctioned area. So, Aaron Glenn... I don't know. I'm going to kind of agree with what you said because I don't really know him. I know Detroit's got a decent defense.
They had a lot of injuries this year. They responded to a lot of adversity.
Is Aiden Hutchinson going to be back?
They
say if he goes to the if Detroit goes to the NFC Championship, they say he might be back. Is that true or not?
I honestly don't think he'll make it to the NFC Championship, but for the Super Bowl, he'll definitely play. I think.
Yeah. All right. Our final question. Going to end it off with. A good offensive coordinator here. What will happen with Kellen Moore? Will he stay in Philly, or will he go to Dallas, or is his career done? What do you think?
I personally think if they lose this week to the Rams, I think he's going to want out.
I agree.
And they've had a lot of trouble with like A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts communicating with each other.
Well, didn't Kellen Moore, he left Dallas, went to
He went to the Chargers,
and
didn't
then
work out there, but they didn't have a good head coach at all.
you know,
So I think if Dallas really wants a really good offensive-minded coach, I think Kellen Moore is the guy.
Yeah,
He used to
I
play
liked.
there.
Well, and even when he was in Dallas, I loved the way our offense was ran. It was good. It was solid.
He was calling the plays too, not McCarthy.
Yes,
So.
and I feel like we had a good offense there. I've said this from day one. I don't like Mike McCarthy. I never liked Mike McCarthy. I didn't think he was a fit at Dallas, honestly. It kind of aggravated me when he ended up there. I feel like a guy like Lincoln Riley should have ended up at Dallas, honestly. And Lincoln Riley's not doing good now, but I feel like, some of those coaches like Lincoln Riley might have been better in the NFL.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have been, a better fit than Mike McCarthy. But I feel like that issue in Dallas with Kellen Moore and the offensive coordinating situation a couple years ago and Mike McCarthy and all that, I feel like Mike McCarthy was the issue, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like he kind of set a tone that, people didn't really like. And I don't feel like Kellen Moore was the issue. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Kellen Moore back. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Deion Sanders at Dallas. Wouldn't be surprised to see Robert Saleh go, or whatever you named him, Robert, wherever he ends up. I wouldn't be surprised about anything. Honestly, all these coaching candidates that we talked about, I wouldn't be surprised seeing them anywhere. Honestly.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys so much for watching this. Anything else you got to talk about?
I think that this coaching cycle might be one of the best in a while. There are a lot of young candidates, and I think with Belichick out of there, I really don't think there's too many old minds. It should be pretty interesting to see where all these coaches
They're all
land.
fairly young, yeah. And I mean, even Mike McCarthy's not that old. He's not very old. He's, maybe 50-something? Maybe?
60-something.
60, 50, 60. I mean, he's not that old. And honestly, for a coach, that's not bad. But yeah, there's no more Jason Garrett. All these guys are young. Like Sean McVay's young. Green Bay's offensive. Green Bay's even got issues going on with their, coaching staff. Have you seen any of that? I mean, didn't Robert Saleh go up there and try to?
Yeah, he was just an assistant or something.
Yeah, he did something up there. I don't remember what it was.
Their quarterback coach just retired yesterday, so they're not in too good of a spot. But I think they should figure it out with this coaching cycle. So.
Yeah, I agree. So, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.